Your gifts will make room for you, no doubt. That's a promise from the Bible. But what many believers don't anticipate is that once you get in the room, everybody ain't going to be happy that you're in the same room. Today's video was brought to you by my book, Rise Above the Haters, a powerful Bible-based book that will teach you how to develop hater-proof skills and keep on shining no matter who doesn't want to see you win. And so, here's the thing. The Bible tells us that our gifts will make room for us and put us in the presence of great men. Proverbs 18:16. This means that when you're operating in your God-given gifts, when you are operating in your calling, moving forward in purpose and destiny, when you are cultivating your talents, doors are going to open for you. And we know that whatever door God opens, no man can shut. But what a lot of people don't count on, and it throws them for a loop, is that there will be people who are not going to be glad that you're there. People don't prepare you for the people who are not going to be glad that you're in the room. People who feel like someone like you doesn't deserve the opportunity to be there. People who feel that they're better than you. People who were silently hating and never thought that you would achieve your goals and your dreams. People who always coveted your gifts. And if you are not prepared, what can happen is you may mistakenly believe that you don't belong in the room because people are giving you the cold shoulder. You may mistakenly believe that there's no place for you in terms of moving forward in the things that you've always desired to do, because there are people in positions who don't want to give you a place at the table. And the moment you step into that room, the one that gave you your gift, you got to remember that he is the giver of your gift and he has opened that door. So some people will celebrate you, but others will secretly resent that you're in the room. Not because you did anything wrong, but because your presence reminds them of everything they chose not to become, everything they chose not to pursue. If they struggle with insecurity at a deep-seated level, they're not going to be happy. And this is where the spiritual warfare begins, right? Ephesians 6:12 tells us that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against rulers, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And so you may be wondering why, as smart as you are, as gifted as you are, as talented as you are, as anointed as you are, when you go in certain rooms, whether it is a room in terms of the job, whether it is a committee that you're on, rooms in the church, baby, you have some church folks that are haters. Whatever room that you are going into, you might be wondering, why am I being met with such hostility? And I didn't do anything to the people in this room. I don't even know them, and I'm being met with such hostility. People don't even speak. I say good morning, nobody answers me. Like, this is nuts. And the reason that is happening is because you were dealing with spiritual warfare. And I also have a book that will help you with that. It's Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare, which is a book of Bible-based prayers that will help you engage in spiritual warfare from a place of power, authority, and victory. And so, how do you know when people resent your presence in the room? Your gifts made room for you, but there are people that don't want you there. How do you know that? Number one, they go silent when you have any success. People who are for you are going to clap when you win. But the ones who secretly envy you will get real quiet when something good happens for you. This could be something as simple as you are on a committee, you give an idea that's a really great idea, and people are ignoring you as if you didn't give the idea. 5 minutes later, somebody else repackages what you say, and you were like, huh? I just said that. But when Jane Doe says it, Jane, that's such a great idea. When John Doe says it, John, that was an awesome idea. And you are looking like, are these people nuts? I just said the same thing and everybody went silent, or they shot my idea down. But when Jane simply rephrases what I said, or maybe she says what I said verbatim, It is a great idea. So this lets you know that they're not rejecting the idea. They're rejecting you. And this is important to understand because you may begin to doubt your abilities. You may begin to be in a place where you lose confidence, and that's what the enemy wants, because the enemy wants to keep you out of the rooms that God sends you into, because the enemy doesn't want you walking in purpose and destiny. So it is an attack against purpose and destiny. John 10:10 says the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy, right? Christ comes so that we may have life and have life more abundantly. And one of the ways that the thief steals, kills, and destroys, particularly highly gifted, anointed, smart people who are operating in their talents, is that he will begin to try to steal, kill, and destroy your confidence, your courage, by way of having people ice you out of the rooms that God has opened those doors for. And this is important for you to understand, because you may say, you know what, why even bother being on this committee? I'm just going to quit. Why even bother being part of this play? Maybe you're a part of your church's play. They're putting on a play and you have a beautiful anointed singing voice, or you have a knack for designing costumes, or designing the props for the play, and you are getting iced out and you are getting met with so much hostility that you're like, you know what, I don't want to be part of this play. And that's exactly what the enemy wants, because you don't know who's sitting in the audience that will see what it is that you're doing when the credits rise, who will hear you sing, who will find out that you were the person who did all the costumes and the decorations, and there is a much bigger opportunity waiting for you. And that is just a stepping stone, right? Because God is opening many doors for us. But the enemy also knows that you have a purpose and a destiny, and he will use people, sometimes our own thoughts and emotions, to stop us from walking in purpose and destiny. But you get to decide whether or not you walk in purpose and destiny. And so sometimes people don't even say anything negative. Sometimes they say something outright negative, but sometimes they're just silent. They freeze you out. 2, they'll subtly, sometimes overtly, but they'll subtly discredit your accomplishments. So they'll say things like, oh, that's nice, but anyone could have done that. Or you were just lucky. When in fact, you were not lucky. Yes, you have the favor of God on your life, which means you are blessed, not lucky. But you also put in the work. You were the one who spent the long hours studying the thing that you were studying. You were the one who put the time in going to school, who put the time in learning your craft. And they want to attribute it to luck. And yes, you are blessed, but you also partnered with God in that when he put these talents and gifts inside of you, you didn't bury your talents, you multiplied your talents, you stirred up your gifts. So God did his part, but you did your part. So they'll imply, here's something else, they'll imply that your success came from anything other than your hard work. You being blessed and favored, that your success came so easily. Why? Because acknowledging your hard work would mean confronting their own stagnation, confronting that they did not put in the work, or just simply confronting that you have a gift that they don't possess. And the reality is we all have different gifts, but we're not carbon copies of each other. So you may be gifted in one area while somebody else is gifted in another area. But if an individual struggles with deep-seated security and they're not willing to put that on the altar so that God can deliver them from that, they won't even acknowledge it, right? So when they're in that space where they have haughtiness and pride, and they won't acknowledge that they are struggling with envy and insecurity, and they actually harboring the spirit of envy, they're not going to confront their own stagnation. They're not going to confront what they're not doing, the work that they're not putting in. They're going to blame you. So this is another way that you will begin to know that you're dealing with envious spirits that resent your presence, so that you realize it's not me, it's them. 3, this is a big one. They include everyone but you. So they will purposefully try to isolate you and ice you out. You got to watch for this pattern. And this will be group text, and you rarely, if ever, get the group text. And then the next day they come in talking about the text, says, oh yeah, remember the chat that we had? We were talking about A, B, and C, and you're part of that group, but you didn't get the text. You're always left out of text. You're left out of emails. You will see pictures on whatever social media platforms that you use. You see pictures on Instagram and you're like, oh, I didn't know that, everybody was going here Friday. So they leave you out of things, right? And somehow they always seem to forget you. And it's not because they don't remember you. They remember you. They spend a lot of time talking about you. They know exactly who you are. So it's not because they don't remember you. It is not because you don't belong. It is because your presence shifts the atmosphere. You got to remember that as a believer, you carry the light of Christ. You carry the favor of God on your life. And so when you are dealing with people who are in a low vibrational space, but you are high vibrational, your presence alone shifts the dynamic. And what that does, it changes the atmosphere. It shifts the dynamic. And what that does is it threatens their comfort level. It threatens the pattern. And so this is very important to see this, because you will begin to realize that, oh, this is not me, this is them. And here's what else I want you to remember before we close out. You don't need their permission to be in a room that God opened for you, because whatever door God opens, no man can shut. Whatever door God shuts, no man can open. So you don't need their permission to be in the room if you know that God sent you there. You weren't placed in the room to be liked. It's nice if people like you. Of course, who doesn't like to be liked? But you weren't placed in the room to be liked. You were placed there to be a light. So you're not even operating from the same motivation. While many of them, it's about being liked, you're there to be a light. You're there to shine the light of Christ by way of your gifts, your talents, the things that God would have you do. So don't shrink. This is what I'm getting at. Don't you dumb yourself down. Don't shrink who you are to fit in. Don't dull your shine to soothe insecure egos and envious hearts. And don't waste your time trying to prove to people who don't really like you. Don't waste your time trying to prove your worth. They already see it. They see your worth. Here it goes. They see your worth, but they resent your worth. They they want to convince you that they don't see your worth. Anyone who is going so hard to make you believe that you are insignificant, that you don't matter, that you are lower than a roach, that you are lower than a dirty sock with a hole in it, has a serious insecurity problem. Because when people are secure and they're focused on walking in purpose and destiny, they don't have a lot of time. You're going to keep hearing me say this. When you are focused on being a light of Christ, when you are focused on purpose and destiny, you don't have time to hate. You are too busy. You are busy. You don't have time to gossip. You don't have time to be hating on other people. You don't have time to worry about things that are insignificant and trivial. You just don't have that type of time, because you are so laser beam focused on legacy, purpose, destiny, the good works that God has for you, being a blessing to the people who God has called you to be a blessing to, that you don't even have the emotional bandwidth or the mental headspace for it to enter into your heart and your mind. Oh, she thinks she cute. He think he all of that. You too busy thinking that you are who God says you are, and not just thinking it, knowing it, and walking in purpose and destiny. And so you really don't have that type of time. This is why you got to get to the point that when you know that people are hating on you, you know they're miserable. When you have joy in your heart, nobody's life is perfect. But when you choose to operate in the joy of the Lord, when you choose to tap into God's peace that surpasses all understanding, when you choose to work on yourself and focus on yourself, meaning the gifts that God put inside of you, meaning the things that God wants to do for you, with you, and through you for his kingdom, you are so busy moving forward in sync with what God has for you. You're not on demon time. See, you on God time. They on demon time. You're not even on the same time. And so do remember that when God gives you a calling, when God calls you to do whatever he's calling you to do in this season, and as a result of that calling, there are certain rooms that are opening up for you because God is opening up those doors, but there are people that resent that you're in the room. Remember that when God gives you a calling, it is not a conference call. He doesn't confer with your haters about what you should be doing with your life. He doesn't even confer with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin twice removed, and whoever else about what you should do with your life. Ephesians 2:10, which is on our website, CassandraMacMinistries.com, makes it crystal clear that we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, to do good works, which God prepared beforehand that we might walk in them. So you are created in Christ Jesus. Not only that, you're God's workmanship. You are not people's worthless doormat. It doesn't say that. It says you are God's workmanship, not people's worthless doormat. So you're going to have haters when you are operating in your gifts and calling. When you're trying to do anything to better your life. When you are on a path of positivity, why would negative people want to embrace you? You don't even speak the same language. You're not on the same time. You don't even speak the same language. You are speaking the language of the Holy Spirit, operating in the fruits of the Spirit. You are speaking the language of peace. You're speaking the language of love. You're speaking the language of grace. You're speaking the language of compassion. They're speaking the language of bullying, isolating people, being mean. Y'all don't even speak the same language. You're not even equally yoked. And so when you are going into rooms that you know God sent you, but there are people there who resent your presence, this is going to be very difficult. But be very prayerful and ask God to help you not focus on the people, but to focus on your purpose for being there, for however long you're supposed to be there. And this is very difficult, but it's possible, because what's happening is you're dealing with spiritual warfare. And so with that being said, if this message helped you to see things more clearly and you want to dive even deeper in terms of really understanding how to pray when you're dealing with spiritual warfare, pick up my book, Simple Prayers for Spiritual Warfare. It includes targeted, tactical, practical, Bible-based spiritual warfare prayers to help you guard your heart and mind when you are dealing with spiritual warfare, whether it is showing up as envy, whether it is showing up as haters, however the spiritual warfare is showing up in your life, it is going to give you tactical, practical prayers to stand from a place of victory, power, and authority. And if you want deeper support beyond the videos, I would encourage you to become a member of the Wellness Club. It's one of the tiers of YouTube channel membership where we focus on mental self-care, emotional healing, workplace well-being, spiritual self-care through a biblical lens, and it is cheaper than therapy. We also do conference calls where you're able to speak with me live, and not just me, but members of the Wellness Call. And it is a safe space. Many people call it a sanctuary. It's a safe therapeutic space to really be able to focus on your self-care, and it's worth investing in you. You're always invited as well to join me on Sundays for our free church by phone service. Every Sunday, you can come to our church by phone service to get spiritually uplifted, to get encouragement for your heart and your mind. The information is in the description box. You'll see the website, CassandraMacMinistries.com. Just click on it. From there, you'll see the information for church by phone. Last but not least, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports this ministry financially through your donations or your channel membership, allowing us to keep sharing help, hope, and healing. If this channel and ministry is a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing in return, there's a link in the video description box, CassandraMacMinistries.com, to my website, where you can make a donation if you would like to be a blessing to this channel and this ministry. So again, with that being said, remember, Proverbs 18:16 promises me that your gifts will make room for you And it's going to bring you before great people who are influential, who can be a help and an asset to you. And there will be people who will be happy that you were in the room, because you will be a blessing to them. You will be a blessing to their mission and their vision, and you will both be a help to one another. But there will also be a segment of people in that room who will absolutely resent your presence, who will hate your shine, and hate the fact that you were there. And you need to be prepared for both, so that you can remain confident and stand strong regardless of who doesn't want to see you win, who doesn't want to see you shine, and who is mad and miserable that you are in the room that God sent you. God bless you. Let's do our best to be kind, but let's also take our common sense with us. So we got a couple of things coming up, a couple of Zoom workshops that I want to let you know about that will definitely bless your life. So on July 12th, we have the Spiritual Discernment 102 workshop. So if you've taken Spiritual Discernment 101, this is going to build on what you've already learned, and that is happening on Saturday, July 12th. The link is in the video description box. On Saturday, August 16th, we're having a workshop for women entrepreneurs. So if you are a woman of faith and you're an entrepreneur, or you're an aspiring entrepreneur, maybe you are a content creator, you have your own YouTube channel, your own podcast, maybe you're an author. So we are having a workshop by Zoom, and it's the Proverbs 31 Enterprising Woman. And this workshop is really going to teach you how to align your faith so that you're doing business God's way, in a way that really is a blessing, but also in a way that allows you to prosper and thrive. They are not mutually exclusive. And so this workshop is really going to help you. The link is in the video description box where you can read more details about that workshop. Again, it's happening on Zoom, Saturday, August 16th. And last September 30th, last but not least, September 13th, gave you the wrong date. September 13th, we're having a workshop, How to Test the Spirit. Testing the Spirit 101. So we know the significance of testing the Spirit, but then how do you test the Spirit? What are you testing the Spirit for specifically? What details do you need to look for? So we're really going to break this down at this Zoom workshop, and that's happening September 13th. I would encourage you to get your tickets quickly, because tickets tend to go fast, so that you can secure your seat. So those are things that we have coming up if you want to go beyond the public videos. So again, be blessed, and let's do our best to be a blessing wherever God plants us. Talk to you soon. God has plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future too. So let me remind you of what you have the power to do. You've been on a journey, trying to find your way. Like the sun, you're rising, 'cause today's your day. To unlock every gift inside, let your potential flow. Don't let anybody kill your vibe. Time to bust up and show. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Act like you know you can win. Live your dreams, reach your goals. Be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra. They said you'd never make it, but you're still here. Kept on pushing through all your doubts and fears.
Never let a hater see you sweat. Remember who you are. When they go low, let them reap what they sow while you go far. Gotta keep on reaching, keep believing. Baby, shine like a star. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals, be happy. You can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Man. If you got haters, they gon' hate. Keep your head up and just be great. It's your season, your winning season with Cassandra Man. Rise up, time to get on your grind. Go after your dreams, no time to fall behind. Push till the end and never give in. It's your winning season, get ready to win. Keep moving forward and never look back. It's time to get motivated with Cassandra Mack. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals, be happy. You can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by phone. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired. To rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack.